a new biography of Queen Elizabeth II, has brought light an alleged physical confrontation involving Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and a senior aide, an incident reported so serious it prompted Prince Philip issue a formal apology on his son's behalf. The claims, detailed in royal biographer Robert Hardman's book Elizabeth II in Private, in Public The Inside Story, released by Macmillan on April 9, 2026, coincide with the late Queen's birth centennial, paint a damaging portrait of the former Duke of York's conduct within palace walls. Hardman, a Sunday Times #1 best-selling author known for his work on King Charles, and for interviewing every senior royal family member and writer, possesses a level of credibility that lends significant weight these allegations, extracts of which were published in the Daily Mail prior the book's release. At the heart of the reported incident is Vice Admiral Sir Tony Johns-Burt, the Master of the Household since 2013, a role he continues hold under King Charles III. Sir Tony, a decorated retired Royal Navy officer who attained the rank of Vice Admiral before transitioning royal service, is described within Hardman's account as a much-liked, trusted, and distinguished figure central palace operations. His position as Master of the Household places him among the most senior officials, responsible for the management of royal palaces and the scheduling of all internal events. The caliber of Sir Tony's background underscores the gravity of the alleged altercation, which reportedly stemmed from a routine household matter. The catalyst for the confrontation arose when Andrew sought use a specific room within Buckingham Palace for an event-related pitch at Palace, his entrepreneurial initiative. Launched in 2014, Pitch at Palace aimed to connect technology startups with Invisas and Mennas, an endeavour Andrew considered his most significant public project following his naval career. Sir Tony, however, informed Andrew that the desired room was already booked, stating that the Duke would need await his turn, just like any other individual. This refusal, according a royal household source quoted by Hardman, marked the turning point in the interaction. The source directly stated that the Duke wanted to have a reception, and there wasn't any room. It was as simple as that. Tony said he'd have wait his turn like anybody else, and the Duke went for him. The Pitch at Palace programme itself ultimately collapsed in 2025, unable to withstand the reputational damage resulting from the Epstein scandal. Hardman's narrative carefully describes the unfolding events, with one staff member insisting the incident was not just an outburst of expletives and a jab of a finger. Another source characterized the moment as a kinetic blow. Further elaborating on GB News about his book, Hardman used even more direct terms, explaining that the encounter concluded with Andrew pushing, hunching, and reiterated the description of a kinetic blow against a very distinguished, much liked, much trusted, very senior royal aide. This phrase, kinetic blow, has since garnered international attention, appearing in headlines across various media outlets, signifying the perceived seriousness of the event within the royal household. Following the alleged altercation, a chain reaction of reporting commenced within the palace hierarchy. Sir Tony Johns-Burt formally reported the matter Lord William Peel, who at the time held the esteemed position of Lord Chamberlain, making him the most senior official in the entire royal household. Lord Peel subsequently escalated the issue directly to the then Prince of Wales, who is now known as King Charles III. According Hardman's account, the future monarch confronted his younger brother regarding the incident. Andrew's reported response, however, conveyed an entirely unrepentant stance. The former Duke allegedly telephoned Lord Peel, stating, "I gather you've been calling people and causing problems." This phone call reportedly led a subsequent face-to-face meeting, during which Lord Peel unequivocally communicated his position on the matter. Lord Peel's perspective on Andrew's character is further illuminated in a separate passage from the book, where he describes the Duke with striking clarity. The Duke had an overriding belief that he was better than the rest of us. His self-confidence and entitlement was off the scale. This singular assessment from the most senior official in the royal household provides significant insight in the perception of Andrew's demeanour and attitude among those at the pinnacle of palace life, suggesting a deep-seated sense of superiority that informed his interactions. Perhaps the most extraordinary detail in Hardman's extensive account involves Prince Philip. The late Duke of Edinburgh was reportedly so alarmed by his son's conduct that, in Hardman's words, he was stirred from his retirement, compose and dispatch a formal letter of apology directly Sir Tony Johns Burt. Andrew, after a period of persuasion, eventually drafted his own apology, which a member of staff later characterised as a sorry not sorry letter, implying a lack of genuine remorse. This unprecedented intervention by Prince Philip, a figure who dedicated his life protecting the institution and maintaining a discreet public profile, underscores the profound seriousness with which he viewed his son's actions. It suggests that Philip considered the matter far beyond a simple disagreement, necessitating his personal involvement in a situation that should have been resolved by Andrew's straightforward acknowledgement of responsibility. The late Queen Elizabeth II's reaction. The incident offers further telling insight. Hardman writes that the affair was not initially brought to her attention, having been addressed through the established channels of senior household officials. When the Queen eventually learned of the situation, a senior staff member reportedly attempted to minimize its significance, spare her any potential embarrassment. However, her reported response was succinct and devoid of surprise. "Oh, I'm sure he did it. That's the sort of thing he does." Hardman further elaborated that the Queen was not astonished, describing her son's actions as merely typical of Andrew's boorish behaviour. The author notes that following this particular episode, there were no further instances of staff being subjected to such physical treatment. These allegations do not stand in isolation within Hardman's broader research. The biographer conveyed GB News that as he collected more strides about Andrew's behaviour, he increasingly recognised a pervasive pattern of conduct. He stated that virtually anyone who had interacted with the former Duke, including Lord Lieutenants and ambassadors, possessed an eye-rolling Andrew Shry. Hardman characterised Andrew as infamous for throwing his weight about, and described him as someone everyone found pretty exasperating. The cumulative picture presented by Hardman is not of an isolated lapse in judgment, but rather of a consistent pattern of behaviour over many years that left a discernible long trail of bruised egos and exhausted officials across the various royal estates. It is important to note several caveats surrounding these claims. The allegations originate from a single source, Robert Hardman's biography, and are based on information provided by anonymous royal household insiders. A specific date for the alleged altercation has not been publicly disclosed, beyond the indication that it occurred during Sir Tony Johns Burt's tenure as Master of the Household, which commenced in 2013, and while Prince Philip was still alive. Buckingham Palace has been approached for comment regarding these claims, but has not issued a public response. Andrew himself has also not publicly addressed the specific allegation. The publication of Hardman's book occurs at a particularly sensitive juncture for Andrew. King Charles III stripped Andrew Mountbatten Windsor of all his royal titles and styles in late 2025, additionally instructing him vacate Royal Lodge. On February 19, 2026, his 66th birthday, Andrew was arrested in Norfolk on suspicion of misconduct in a public office, following the release of files connected to Jeffrey Epstein. After 11 hours in custody, he was released, though he remains under investigation. Just days before Hardman's book became available, on April 5, 2026, Andrew was notably absent from the Royal Easter Sunday service at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, an event attended by King Charles, Queen Camilla, and the Prince and Princess of Wales. His daughters, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, were also not present at the service that day, having reportedly made alternative arrangements with the King's understanding. The revelations from Hardman's biography therefore offer a profound insight in the internal dynamics of the royal household and the perceived conduct of a once prominent member of the royal family. The account alleges a pattern of behaviour culminating in a physical confrontation with a highly respected official over a seemingly trivial matter, leading the unprecedented intervention of Prince Philip and a remarkably unsurprised reaction from Queen Elizabeth II. This narrative, if substantiated, underscores a persistent challenge within the palace regarding accountability and the expectation that even those closest to the throne must adhere standard protocols and accept boundaries, particularly the simple word no, a concept Andrew reportedly found exceptionally difficult to accept. The ongoing legal and reputational challenges faced by Andrew provide a stark backdrop against which these historical allegations emerge, further shaping public perception of his past conduct and future prospects within the royal sphere.